Hello, hello. So, sir, there's some small thing we want to do before we start. Can I? Thank you so much, everyone, for coming here. I'm going to introduce the guest today, but before that, I'm just going to give a small brief about what is Make It Possible podcast. And this is the first podcast we're shooting, thanks to you. So, Make It Possible is a podcast series for those who want to dream beyond themselves. So, it is a series which will teach you how to dream beyond I, me, and myself. It will show you a direction, and last, it will help you discover who you are. So coming back, what is this or what series are we starting with right now? We believe, like when me and Chetan started Repos, we have a firm belief now that this decade belongs to India. And in the next 3 decades, we are going to make sure that India becomes the superpower of the world. That's our dream. So this series is dedicated to a vision, to a belief, and a faith that India ka time hai ye. So, Chanakya, a famous philosopher, said a very amazing thing. He said, India is a funny country because India's future belongs to its past. We were once 24% contributor of our GDP in the world. And we were known as the golden bird or Sone ki chidiya. And I don't know, but we all youngsters sitting here, we dream to get that back. And how to do, what to do, that's why we're going to start a series where we talk to change makers who have done some great things in their own industry and how can we take it ahead. So Swami Vivekananda was once, he told that, give me 100 ignited youths and I will make India strong. Our former president, APJ Abdul Kalam, he was asked, what's the strength and weakness of India? And I was really amazed to what he said. He said the strength, the biggest strength of India is the ignited youths driven with a common purpose. And it's not only the strength or the resource for the earth, it's above the earth, below the earth, and under the earth. I was like, wow. And to which the weakness, what is the biggest weakness of India? He said, if more than 500 million of youths of India, if we don't have a dream, and if we don't have a vision, India will not grow. And I don't know if it resonates, but it hit us so hard that along with Repos, we thought, if we are growing, why don't we help other people know how to discover the possibilities, what they are doing in their own path. So today, we have someone from the Mahindra Group, someone very special guest. So I'll give you a small introduction about the Mahindra Group. Started in 1945. So Mahindra Group is one of the most admired federation of companies in the world with 260,000 employees, present over 100 countries. And the ESG goal, which we are also doing it resonates so strongly that they want to make sure, the Mahindra Groups want to make sure they touch billions of lives and help them rise. So I think that explains Mahindra Rise. So today we have with someone who's responsible for transporting just about every Indian in the country. Someone who keeps us on the toes, making us wait for the next Indian premium sports utility vehicle, and someone who's planning to take the automobile industry to the next level. So I welcome Mr. Veejay Nakra, the CEO of Mahindra and Mahindra Automobile Sector. So it's an honor to have you here.
Pleasure is mine. In fact, I think I should say it's an honor for me to be here because when I just listened to your opening, I've been in the automobile industry for many, many years, and I think the color of my hair says it all. But I'm really looking forward to the next 15 minutes of conversation with an empowered youth like yourself who thinks so differently, one, and two, who has a cause which is far bigger than your individual self or your organization. So kudos to you and your husband, Chetan, for what you guys are doing.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. So to start with, when I was a kid, I was told, that I can be anything that I want to be. Someone told me. I was fortunate that someone told me when I was 16 years old. But I didn't know what I wanted to do in life. So coming back, let's take it from the top. Did you always have an idea that what you wanted to do And did you always have an idea that this is what you will be after 30 years of your college?
You know, I really wish life was that structured, but it's not. So when I was a youth, frankly, I wasn't clear myself what I wanted to do with my life. I think like many of the youth sitting over here, I had a great teenage and the 20s and the early 30s. I worked hard and I really partied hard. I had a lot of fun in life, but I was pretty clear somewhere that like the philosophy of your business is about making it possible.
Right.
Somewhere within me, I was also clear that life is a lot bigger than just myself. It was not just about my wants and my needs. It was about doing something which is large as life, and try and make a difference in society. And I think I was very fortunate that I got that opportunity with a group like Mahindra and Mahindra. Unlike many people, I have been a one company person. I've worked in this organization now for 28 years and held on to that larger goal that if automobile is a very large contributor to the economy, and if I can play my small little part in an Indian organization like Mahindra and Mahindra to make it a globally recognized brand, not just from profits and volume, but from a larger cause. I think that was my goal, and I'm very happy that I set that as a standard for myself, and I've been walking that path for the last 28, 29 years.
Oh, thank you. So coming back to that, do you know, like you're talking about building a global brand, when we talk about startups, we always have today the startups which come from the West. You know, we have coming from the West, and then we do something and we take it ahead. So we want startups to be there in the top 5, 6 global brands of the world. Any sector, be it automobile, be it e-commerce, technology, education. So do you think that Indian startups have the potential to go there?
No, absolutely. If you just look at some of the data, I think last year's data published, firstly, I think we are ranked in the top 3 global startup economies.
Yeah.
As an ecosystem. And if my memory serves me right, India has got about 66,000 recognized startups in the ecosystem. And I believe 88 unicorns with a total valuation of over $300 billion. So, and a lot of this has happened in the last 2 years, and if anything, in 2021. So actually, if you come to think of it, the pandemic that we've gone through as a nation, the kind of opportunities it's brought out, no doubt, I think many of us personally have been affected, near and dear ones have been affected. But again, you just go back to when you spoke about 1945, you look at the resilience of India as a nation and Indians as citizens. What we've been able to do has clearly proved and put India on the map today, and as you rightly said, on a path to being a superpower. But I think, as you rightly started by saying, apna time aa gaya hai, and the startup ecosystem is really going to see that flip in India. And again, organizations like y'all, what y'all are doing in terms of the energy distribution is absolutely disruptive. Who could think of a classic energy distribution business model which has been set over the last 50, 60 years in the country being disrupted the way technology is doing it today? So I think we have the intellectual capital.
Right.
I also believe that today flow of wealth capital is not a challenge anymore. Wherever there is an idea, there is money, and that money flows like water these days. So yeah, I'm very, very confident with what India has today, the youth and the possibility of the future. We're going to see some very, very large startups scaling up in the country in the next couple of years.
I absolutely agree to that. So, sir, going back, you've sailed past 30 years in India. The next 30 years, specifically in the automobile industry, what do you think, or where can India reach at the global level?
You know, and I'm remembering my early days in Mahindra when I had joined. India had just started going through its liberalization process at that time. And suddenly the automobile industry, and I remember the finance minister then, Shri Manmohan Singh ji, overnight took some major decisions for the opening up of the economy. Until then, the Indian automobile industry was a license-driven industry where for many of the youth over here, you all can't even imagine. There used to be licenses issued every year for the number of vehicles that could be produced. So it wasn't an economy where the consumers had a choice. You had to book your vehicle and wait till the time your delivery was to be done. And people waited. But cut to now, you're talking about between 1991 and 2001, 2002. You can just see how the industry is disrupted. Every major global player is here in India today. And what the Indian automobile industry has gone through in the last 25 years is something which many economies go over 40, 50 years. From a market point of view, from a customer expectation point of view, and more importantly, technology and regulatory. The way the Indian automobile industry has changed, it's made all Indian manufacturers like Mahindra and many of the others like Tata, etc., for us to really keep reinventing ourselves as we go forward. But I think that, and I'm again very fortunate that in my life cycle of my career, I've seen one disruption happen when the license Raj got removed. And now we are going to see another disruption in the whole electric vehicle space.
Exactly.
And as this happens, the definition of competition will change. The lines of what define an automobile and software on wheels will be redefined. And I think it's going to be very, very exciting and interesting times go forward. Consumers, as it is today, have great choice. This is going to further change going forward. And it's all going to be about how you connect vehicles to customers through connected HMI technology experiences in an extremely green environment. So that's going to be the disruption. I think you're going to see non-automobile brands come into the category for the first time.
Right.
And it's going to be very exciting as we disrupt the future going forward.
Wow. So Mahindra Group as a whole group is very focused on the ESG. And you know, when we talk to startups, they're like, bade companies ke liye ye possible hai. So what is, if we are as startups, if we have 66,000 startups in the country, if you want to contribute to the society, while keeping in mind the growth and numbers, what is it that you suggest that we should do? Like, can you guide us on that front?
I think first I just want to make a point, you know, as we keep coming back to startups and the Indian ecosystem. Again, very interesting definition of what we call now the demographic dividend that this country is going to see play out. And then I'll come to, you know, what could be some of the things we should look at. But if you look at India as a country, in the next 20, 25 years, the runway between 2020 and 2040, India is the only economy in the world where 50% of the population is going to be a working population. Right. So demographic dividend is about what is the dividend that an economy can get from working class, and it's the ratio between working class to non-working class. So the point I'm trying to make is that the working population in India is young,
right,
and that's going to grow in the next 20 years. So the runway that's available to make India a superpower is on the table. And the biggest contributor when you talk about creating a superpower or a large, big economy is human capital. And the combination of certain policies that the government is now putting in place for growth of India as an economy and its recognition in the global platform with the human capital of the youth is, I think, that's going to be a great combination that will play out in the future. I think what's important is giving this youth the right platform in terms of skills, equipping them well with all the knowledge, competency, creating employment opportunities, and making capital available for growth and entrepreneurial ideas. And all of this coming together is what's going to shape India into a great superpower going forward. And I think what's important for the youth is you're fortunate to be at the right place at the right time.
Right.
It's about finding that larger cause of doing the right thing. And if you're able to put that together, many such people like me sitting in many such rooms having many such conversations about the future of India. And I think that's going to be very, very exciting. And I think very, very excited because, I mean, I have 2 children and my daughter is in a very similar age group. And I can just see how this generation is buzzing with ideas and energy. And in fact, when I was driving here with my colleague in the car, we were having that conversation. Look at the opportunities that are on the table today for all of you all. It's about having that larger purpose and putting your concentration and focus behind it. And I think the runway is great for all of you all.
Oh, wow. I think we have a lot of college students also who've come down here. And we had one common question for you. So what is your biggest lesson that you've learned in your career, in the entire journey with Mahindra? What is your biggest lesson?
Well, for me, it is about keeping the calm in the storm. Just understanding and appreciating one single reality of life. There is no constant. It is going to change. How you adapt yourself to change and how quickly you unlearn and relearn to adapt to the environment. If you're comfortable in that space, you'll be comfortable to do what you need to. So don't fear. It's absolutely all right to make mistakes and fail while you unlearn to relearn. But I think having the resilience and having the single-minded focus to go forward and having a belief in what you want to do, I think these are recipes that I believe have served me well over my many years of life.
How do you?
And I think what's also important is it's about concentrated focus. It's about commitment to what you do. And the third C that I'll talk about is collaboration.
Okay, wow.
Never forget that to be successful in life, there are hundreds and thousands of other people who support the success. So it's not about you and it's not about your success. If you work with that philosophy that you have a larger goal to create success for a team or a business or a community or an economy, I think results automatically flow.
Wow. And I think we have important insight to take back, the 3 C's. So if I have to, before I open the rounds for question answers, if I have to ask the last question, what are the top 3 actionables that we as youngsters should take back when we leave from here? 3 actionables.
Yeah, I think I kind of said it earlier, but maybe I can summarize it. 1, have a very strong belief in yourself. There'll be lots of people who will come and tell you, you can't do this, or you're doing wrong. You must listen to everyone. Keep an open mind. Don't be arrogant. Listen to everybody. Reflect on it. But it's your life. You need to decide what you want to do. I think that's one thing. Second is commit yourself to what you do. That's a very, very important thing. And third, have fun with what you do, because at the end of the day, whatever you do, if you're not going to derive having fun with what you do, why are you doing it? Absolutely. So that's what I would say is, if you are able to put this into practice, trust me, you wouldn't know. You'll be suddenly 50 like me, and you'll say, wow, it's been a great life.
Wow, thank you so much, sir. I think because of the time crunch, we have to squeeze in a lot of things.
I know my colleagues over there saying he needs to leave, but if there are a few questions, I'll be happy to take it.
We just winding up. Anyone has any questions? Mayuri, yes? That's exactly what I was going to ask, because
you can't avoid stress in the current way we all live. But at least what I tend to do, and I'll be very honest, I know that people talk about meditation, people talk about many other things. But for me, it's more about accepting that stress and understanding that it is there. Don't try and run away from it, because if you're going to run away from it, it's going to chase you.
Oh.
That's the nature of the mind. The more you run away from something, the more it's going to come at you, and it comes with higher intensity. So the best is to accept it, observe it, live with it for a bit. And I think we are fortunate, right? We've got something called the brain and the intellect to think. So think about what you can do to solve the problem or deal with the situation and put your best behind it. There's nothing else you can do. So that's the way I tend to deal with stress. And of course, I love reading and I listen to music. Try and do it every day so that at the end of the day, you're just able to calm your nerves down a little bit. That's my formula.
Wow. So just one last question, if anyone has. Yeah.
Hello, sir.
Hi.
It's a pleasure to listen to you here. So my question is, as a human being, as a leader, and as a family man, is there any personal goal or a target that you have set for yourself that you would still like to achieve?
That's a very tough one, but if I was to summarize it in one line, it is about giving my 100% in all the roles I do, whether it's as a husband, whether it's as a father, whether it's 100% to the company that I work for, who is, trusted me with the responsibility that they've bestowed upon me, the responsibility as a peer, as a boss, as a friend. Try and put my best into what I do. I think that's what I believe in.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. I'll just end it with something which there's one great man who said a quote. It just hit hard. Probably if any one of you all, if it resonates with you, it says that the time when you're born till the time you die, the road which you travel, the only stop that comes in the road is that of your countries. And you're obliged to serve your country. And till I heard it last year and I thought, why didn't I ever hear it in my last 28 years? And this is exactly why we've all gathered here. This is why exactly what Repos wants to do. If we can think beyond I, me and myself, if we can dedicate this entire concept to our country and we can take it to 198 countries of the world, I think we'll make India proud. So this is what we're doing, and thank you so much for being our first guest.
Like I said, let me thank you for hosting me in your maiden show, and very, very happy to look at the kind of work you all are doing, and thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. The firsts are always the best. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.